You won't believe what happened in that sterile, silent corridor. This isn't just a story about a desperate father and a powerful man, it's a story about the invisible heroes walking among us, and the moment their disguise comes off. Stick with me until the end, because this transformation, and the reason behind it, will change the way you see the people you pass by every single day. And if this story reminds you that true strength isn't about your title, but your actions, then do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real-life tales of courage you won't find anywhere else. The fluorescent lights hummed a mournful tune in the spotless, soulless hallway of the government office building. It was past 10 p.m., and the only souls present were Admiral James Riker, a man who commanded fleets and held the weight of national security on his shoulders, and Arthur, the night janitor. The Admiral's usual posture of unshakable authority was gone, replaced by a tremor in his hands and a cavernous hollow in his eyes. He was leaning against a door marked, "Server Room, Authorized Personnel Only," his dress whites looking out of place in the empty silence. Arthur pushed his cleaning cart with a steady, practiced rhythm. The squeak of a wheel was the only sound answering the light's hum. He was a man in his late 40s, his face a roadmap of long days and quiet sacrifices. His hands, currently sheathed in yellow rubber gloves, were rough and capable. He saw the Admiral, saw the storm of anguish on his face, and gave him a wide berth, a nod of quiet respect. He was used to being invisible, and he preferred it that way. "You, Janitor," the Admiral's voice was a strained, raspy thing, a broken version of the voice that briefed presidents. Arthur stopped, turning his calm, brown eyes toward the officer. "Yes, sir." The Admiral gestured weakly to the server room door. "This door. It's the only copy. The only digital copy of my daughter's medical files, her experimental treatment plans, everything, it's on a secured server in there. The backup failed. The system is locked down for a mandatory, 72-hour security update. No overrides. Not even for me." He swallowed hard, the sound loud in the hallway. "My Lila, she doesn't have 72 hours. The doctors at the new facility need those files now, or they can't proceed. They can't help her." Arthur's face remained placid, but a new intensity sparked in his gaze. "I'm sorry to hear that, sir. The tech team won't be in until morning. Morning is a death sentence." The Admiral's composure shattered, his fist slamming against the reinforced door in a gesture of utter futility. He slumped, the great man reduced to a grieving father. He looked at Arthur, a man he'd passed a dozen times without a second thought. "You have a master key, right? For cleaning the vents." "I do, sir," Arthur said slowly. "But that key only gets me into the anteroom. The server vault itself has a biometric lock and a 12-pin tumbler. It's impossible." "Nothing is impossible," the Admiral snapped, then immediately recoiled, shame washing over him. He ran a hand over his close-cropped hair. "I'm sorry. I'm desperate. There has to be a way. A vent shaft. Something." Arthur was silent for a long moment, his eyes fixed on the Admiral's face, seeing not the rank, but the raw, terrified love of a parent. It was a look he knew intimately. He thought of his own daughter, Maya, sleeping safely at home, her science project on the kitchen table waiting for his help. He thought of the life he'd left behind, a life where doors like this were not just obstacles but invitations. He let out a long, slow breath. "Sir," he said, his voice low and firm. "If I could get you in there, what would you do?" "I'd get the data drive from her dedicated server node and get it to the hospital. That's all. Nothing else. I swear on my honor." Arthur nodded. He then did something strange. He walked over to his janitorial cart, opened a small, locked compartment beneath the rags and sprays, and pulled out a worn, leather tool roll. He laid it carefully on the floor. Then, he began to unbutton his faded blue janitor's jacket. The Admiral watched, confused. "What are you doing?" Arthur slipped the jacket off, folding it with a strange, deliberate care, and placed it on his cart. Underneath, he wore a simple gray t-shirt. And on his right forearm, revealed for the first time, was a tapestry of faded tattoos. Not the random ink of a sailor, but intricate, deliberate symbols, mathematical fractals, and a single, stark phrase in Latin, scientia potentia est. Knowledge is power. But it was the way he carried himself now that truly changed. The slight slouch was gone. His shoulders went back, his spine straightening into a rod of pure, focused intensity. He knelt, unrolled the leather kit, and it wasn't filled with wrenches and pliers. It held delicate, custom-made picks, tension wrenches, a fiber-optic borescope, and a small, complex electronic device with a digital screen. The Admiral stared, his mind struggling to reconcile the image of the quiet janitor with the man now kneeling before the most secure door in the building. "Who are you?" he whispered. Arthur didn't look up as he inserted a pick into the physical lock of the anteroom. "My name is Arthur Bell. I was the lead security penetration specialist for Blackthorn Consulting. We designed the security protocol for this very door." The lock clicked open with a soft, definitive sound. He stood and faced the massive server vault door. The biometrics are a retinal and palm print scan for Admiral James Riker. "Please, sir, stand right here." Stunned, the Admiral moved into position. The scanner flashed. A green light appeared. "The 12-pin tumbler is the problem," Arthur said, his voice now a calm, technical instrument. "It's sound-based. Any incorrect sequence triggers a seismic alarm. You can't pick it by feel. You have to listen." He produced a stethoscope from his kit, but it was digitally enhanced, wired to his small device. He placed the cup against the cold steel of the door, his eyes closed in absolute concentration. The Admiral watched, his heart hammering against his ribs. This was his only hope, a man he'd dismissed as part of the furniture, now performing a symphony of silent skill to save his daughter. The minutes stretched like hours. Arthur's fingers moved with microscopic precision, adjusting the tiny tools inside the lock. A bead of sweat traced a path down his temple. He was no longer a janitor, he was a virtuoso performing his forgotten art. Then, with a series of soft, precise clunks that sounded like victory, the final pin fell into place. Arthur opened his eyes, looked at the Admiral, and gave a single, sharp nod. He gripped the massive lever and pulled. The server vault door swung open on silent, hydraulically dampened hinges, revealing the blinking, silent heart of the building. The Admiral rushed in, found the node, and retrieved the small, crucial data drive. He clutched it in his hand like a holy relic. When he turned back, Arthur was already closing the vault, resetting the locks, his movements efficient and flawless. They stood again in the hallway. The Admiral looked at Arthur, truly looked at him. "Why? Why are you here? With your skills?" Arthur began rolling up his tools, the moment of supreme focus passing. The quiet, tired man was returning. "The skills came with a price," he said, his voice soft again. "I was the best, and my work made a lot of powerful enemies. When my wife got sick, it was a warning. A car accident, that wasn't." He looked up, his eyes holding a universe of pain. "The company offered me protection, but it was a gilded cage. I chose a different kind of safety. Invisibility. I became a ghost so my daughter, Maya, could have a real life. A normal one. This job, it pays the bills. It lets me be there when she gets home from school." The Admiral understood. He saw the same driving force in Arthur that he saw in himself: love. A love so powerful it made a SEAL admiral beg and a genius security expert disappear into a janitor's uniform. "I can protect you," the Admiral said, his voice thick with emotion. "I have resources. You shouldn't be living in fear." Arthur smiled, a genuine, warm smile that transformed his face. "Thank you, sir. But fear isn't the boss of me anymore. Love is. And tonight, love needed a janitor with a particular set of skills." He pulled his blue jacket back on, the disguise settling back into place. But now, the Admiral saw the man beneath it, the hero who didn't wear a uniform, but carried the weight of his own quiet sacrifices with immense dignity. Lila's treatment was a success. The files saved her life. And a week later, a sealed, unmarked envelope was placed on Arthur's cart. Inside was not a medal or a commendation, but something far more valuable. A single sheet of paper, signed by Admiral James Riker, granting a full, unconditional pardon and a clean, government-verified new identity for Arthur and his daughter, Maya, should they ever need it. Scribbled at the bottom was a personal note: "The nation thanks its visible heroes. A father thanks an invisible one. Your watch is over. You are safe. Jr." Arthur read it in his small, tidy kitchen, the sounds of Maya laughing in the next room. He folded the paper, tucked it away, and felt a weight he'd carried for years finally lift. He wasn't a ghost anymore. He was just a dad. And that was the greatest victory of all. So, what does this story tell us? It screams that heroes don't always look the part. They're the quiet ones, the ones who made choices for love, who carry entire worlds of strength inside them. They're pushing a mop, serving your coffee, or living right next door. If this story resonated with you, if it reminded you to see the people around you with a little more wonder, then smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, because we find these incredible, true life stories of everyday courage and we bring them right here. Share your own thoughts in the comments below. Who are the invisible heroes in your life? Until next time, look closer. You never know who might be hiding in plain sight.